Hey y'all, and welcome back to the garden. There's nothing quite like the taste of a homegrown tomato, is there? That juicy sweetness bursting with flavor, it just can't be beat. But sometimes our tomato plants don't quite cooperate the way we hope. Instead of those beautiful, bountiful harvests, we're left with scrawny plants and just a handful of fruit. Well, don't you worry, because today we're getting to the bottom of those tomato troubles. We're talking about the top 5 mistakes that might be holding your tomato plants back from reaching their full potential. And trust me, these are mistakes we've all made at some point. So grab your gardening gloves and a glass of sweet tea, and let's get ready to transform those tomato troubles into triumphs. We're gonna have you growing the biggest, juiciest tomatoes you've ever seen. Now, tomatoes are pretty tough plants, but they can be prone to diseases, especially those that live in the soil and splash up onto the leaves when it rains. This is a common issue that many gardeners face, and it can be quite frustrating. The rainwater acts as a vehicle carrying harmful pathogens from the soil up to the leaves, where they can start to wreak havoc. One of the biggest culprits is blight, and trust me, you don't want that taking over your precious tomato plants. Blight can spread rapidly and cause significant damage, leading to reduced yields and even the death of the plant if not managed properly. It's a sneaky disease that can be hard to spot at first, but once it takes hold, it can be devastating. Think of it like this: you wouldn't want your feet constantly sitting in muddy water, right? Well, neither do your tomato plants. Waterlogged soil can create the perfect environment for diseases to thrive, and it can also suffocate the roots, preventing them from getting the oxygen they need. This can lead to root rot and other issues that can severely impact the health of your plants. That's why it's so important to keep that soil from splashing up on the leaves. When soil particles land on the leaves, they bring with them a host of potential problems, including fungal spores and bacteria that can cause disease. By preventing this from happening, you can significantly reduce the risk of your plants getting sick. My favorite way to do this is with a good layer of mulch. Mulch acts as a barrier, preventing soil from splashing up onto the leaves and also helping to retain moisture in the soil, which can be especially beneficial during dry periods. Think pine straw, shredded bark, or even just some good old compost. Each type of mulch has its own benefits, and you can choose the one that best suits your garden's needs. Pine straw is lightweight and easy to spread. Shredded bark breaks down slowly and adds organic matter to the soil, and compost is rich in nutrients that can help feed your plants. Spread it around the base of your plants about 2 to 3 inches thick, and you'll be creating a protective barrier that keeps those disease-carrying water droplets at bay. This simple step can make a big difference in the overall health of your tomato plants. Another thing you can do is give your plants a little haircut as they grow. Pruning helps to improve air circulation around the plant, which can reduce the chances of disease taking hold. Now, don't go chopping them back too much, but removing those lower leaves, especially the ones that are touching the soil, can make a world of difference. This helps to keep the leaves dry and reduces the risk of soil-borne diseases. It improves airflow around the plant and reduces the chances of disease taking hold. Good airflow helps to keep the leaves dry and can also help to prevent the spread of fungal spores. And finally, don't forget about crop rotation. This is a key practice in organic gardening and can help to prevent the buildup of diseases in the soil. Just like we like to switch things up in the kitchen every now and then, our plants appreciate a change of scenery too. Rotating your crops helps to break the life cycle of pests and diseases, making it harder for them to establish themselves in your garden. Moving your tomatoes to a different spot in the garden each year helps prevent disease buildup in the soil. By giving your plants a fresh start in a new location, you can help to keep them healthy and productive for years to come. Now, just like we need a good balance of nutrients to thrive, our plants need the same care and attention. So do our tomato plants. They rely on us to provide the right nutrients to grow strong and healthy. And when it comes to fertilizer, it's all about finding that sweet spot. It's a delicate balance that can make or break your garden. Too little, and your plants won't have the energy to grow and produce fruit. They might look weak and undernourished, but too much, and well, that can cause a whole other set of problems. Over-fertilizing can be just as harmful as under-fertilizing. You see, over-fertilizing, especially with nitrogen-rich fertilizers, can lead to what we call lush growth. This means your plants will have lots of leaves, but not much fruit. That means you'll have beautiful, big, green plants, but not a whole lot of tomatoes. The energy goes into leaf production rather than fruit. All that nitrogen encourages leaf growth at the expense of fruit production. Your plants look great, but they aren't giving you the harvest you want. So, what's the solution? Well, it starts with choosing the right fertilizer. Understanding what your plants need is key. Look for a balanced fertilizer, one that contains nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium in roughly equal amounts. These three nutrients are essential for plant health, and don't be afraid to go organic. Organic fertilizers can be just as effective and are often better for the environment. Compost, worm castings, and aged manure are all fantastic natural fertilizers that provide a slow and steady release of nutrients. They improve soil health over time. When you're applying fertilizer, follow the instructions on the package carefully. It's important to get the dosage right. It's always better to err on the side of caution and use a little less than recommended. You can always add more if needed. You can always add more later if needed. It's easier to add more than to deal with the consequences of over-fertilizing. And here's a little tip: water your plants well after fertilizing. This helps the nutrients to be absorbed more effectively. This helps distribute the nutrients evenly throughout the soil and prevents fertilizer burn. Proper watering ensures that your plants get the most out of the fertilizer. With the right balance of fertilizer and care, your tomato plants will thrive, giving you a bountiful harvest of delicious, juicy tomatoes. Happy gardening! Chapter 3. Mistake number 3. Pruning. Less is more. Now let's talk about pruning. Just like a good haircut can make us feel refreshed and revitalized, pruning can do wonders for your tomato plants. It improves airflow, lets in more sunlight, and helps prevent disease. But just like with a haircut, you don't want to go overboard. Excessive pruning can actually do more harm than good. When you remove too much foliage, you expose the developing fruit to direct sunlight, which can lead to sun scald. And nobody wants a sunburned tomato. So how do you prune your tomatoes the right way? Well, it's all about being selective. Start by removing any suckers that sprout up between the main stem and the branches. These suckers just sap energy from the plant and don't produce much fruit. You can also prune off any leaves that are yellowing, diseased, or damaged. And as your plants grow taller, you might want to remove some of the lower leaves to improve airflow and reduce the risk of disease. But remember, the key is to prune judiciously. Leave enough foliage on the plant to shade the fruit and protect it from the intense summer sun. Chapter 4. Mistake number 4. Timing is everything. Don't plant too late. Now let's talk about timing. When it comes to planting tomatoes, timing is everything. Plant too early and you risk frost damage. Plant too late and, well, your plants might not have enough time to produce a bountiful harvest before the weather turns cold again. Tomatoes are warm season crops, which means they love the heat. They need warm soil, warm air, and plenty of sunshine to thrive. So before you even think about putting those tomato plants in the ground, make sure the soil temperature is consistently above 60 degrees Fahrenheit. If you live in a colder climate with a shorter growing season, starting your seeds indoors a few weeks before the last frost date can give you a head start. This way, you'll have nice sturdy seedlings ready to go when the weather warms up. And here's a little tip. When you're transplanting your seedlings, bury them a little deeper than they were in their pots. This encourages root growth and helps create a stronger, healthier plant. Chapter 5. Mistake number 5. The balancing act of sunlight. Now, we all know that tomatoes love sunshine, right? They thrive on it, soaking up those golden rays to produce the juicy, flavorful fruits we all enjoy. But just like us, they can have too much of a good thing. Imagine yourself lying on a beach without any shade for hours. It wouldn't be long before you start feeling the burn. Excessive sunlight, especially during the hottest part of the day, can actually damage those delicate tomato plants. The intense heat can be overwhelming. You see, when tomatoes get too much sun, they can develop sun scald. This is a condition where the fruit gets overheated and the skin literally cooks in the sun. This happens when the fruit gets overheated and the skin literally cooks in the sun. The result is unsightly blemishes and a compromised texture. It's not a pretty sight, and it can ruin the flavor of your tomatoes. The affected areas become tough and leathery, making the fruit less enjoyable to eat. So how do you strike that perfect balance between enough sunlight and too much? It's all about understanding your garden's microclimate and making smart choices. Well, it starts with choosing the right location for your tomato plants. Look for a spot that gets plenty of morning sun but is shielded from the harsh afternoon rays. Aim for a spot that gets at least 6 hours of direct sunlight per day, preferably in the morning. Morning sun is gentler and helps the plants dry off any dew, reducing the risk of fungal diseases. If you live in a particularly hot climate, you might want to consider providing some afternoon shade for your tomato plants. This can be crucial in preventing sunscald and heat stress. You can do this by planting them near taller plants that will cast some shade, like corn or sunflowers. These companion plants can offer natural protection, or by using shade cloth or row covers. These tools can be very effective in moderating the temperature and light exposure. And here's a little tip. Keep your tomato plants well watered, especially during hot, sunny weather. Consistent watering helps the plants stay cool and reduces the risk of sunscald. This helps keep them cool and prevents the fruit from drying out. Remember, a well-hydrated plant is more resilient and can better withstand the challenges of intense sunlight. Another tip is to use mulch around the base of your tomato plants. Mulch helps retain soil moisture and keeps the roots cool, providing an extra layer of protection against the heat. By taking these steps, you can ensure your tomato plants get the right amount of sunlight they need to thrive, without suffering from the adverse effects of too much exposure. Happy gardening! Well, there you have it, y'all. 5 common tomato growing mistakes and, more importantly, how to avoid them. By sidestepping these common mistakes, you're well on your way to a rewarding tomato harvest. Remember, growing tomatoes, just like anything worthwhile in life, takes a little bit of patience, a whole lot of love, and maybe a little help from your friends here at Your Channel Name. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our upcoming garden adventures. And be sure to let us know in the comments down below how your tomato plants are doing this year. We love hearing from y'all. Happy gardening, and may your tomatoes be ever plentiful. Like, subscribe, and share for more gardening tips.